look at this comp. You keep the explosiveness of having that Sky combo alongside Phoenix, and then you have those dirty, ratty afterplants that most people hate, but I quite enjoy.
I do too, I'll be honest with you. I find it a very interesting change. After so long, we have not seen Viper that often and playing that a crucial role. She's back, she's alive, and she's definitely here.
Well, you know, Zesh, just push her, duh.
Why would you do that? Either way, from Tom's cynical way, we see if it's most likely going to be one of those fast approaches of the side of Liquid. And yes, Yampy says, hello, how you doing? Oops, is what Jet says. And Karo's having none of that. Lego don't want a surprise moment, gets right click in the smoke. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. But here comes the bot, and that one is actually coming fairly close. Ain't happening though. Here's the flank, but is it making a change?
I'll see you later, Link. That's already one man to the good, but Yampy's still going. We know how powerful he can be in these pistols. Cryptix has the cross and manages to drop one. It leaves just a couple of players remaining, trying to bring this back for the side of BBL. We know the momentum they were able to garner off pistols in map number 1. AIM DLL has already dropped another, but it's left with Scream and Soulcast separated by a multitude of the side. Russ already manages to peek off one, but the problem is the time. He needs Scream to peek him, and he will, and it doesn't matter in the end. Scream brings home the pistol. Liquid with a 1-0 start.
Successful. That's exactly what Liquid needed right here, and must be a good feeling to start that way. Cryptix, like you said, world premiere on the Viper, and I think a good point of Sliggy, really. I mean, Valorant at the beginning was that kind of game where you say, yeah, I play one agent, I'm good with it. But going deeper and deeper and deeper and getting the scene getting more professional, no way that you only can play one agent. And this is a great surprise here from Cryptix.
Ooh, they're gonna come into quite a lot of players. Oh, Yuppie just about manages to survive. Surely he can't get all of them. There we go. There will at least be a trade back. Chance of this round coming up with much more seems slim, although Russ, he wants to try and build up that ultimate as early as humanly possible. Not going to get anything else, but still, only going to be one away. Now, interestingly, with the choices coming out from Liquid, I want to quote Boaster on Twitter. It was just said, you've got to be living on Planet Cuckoo to not be playing Viper at this stage. So, clearly, we're going to be seeing a lot of Viper coming out from him.
What planet?
Planet Cuckoo.
What is Planet Cuckoo?
You only know if you find it, Zesh. Maybe it's at the back of your wardrobe.
Let me look. Oh no, it's just Narnia there, I'm sorry.
Mr. Tumnus?
Ah, but there's Aslan. No, just kidding.
Yeah, there you go.
Found him. But maybe it's the big
now
player.
You need the witch. You need the lion and the witch and in the wardrobe. I don't know who you'd call the witch. It's not quite as a nicer compliment. Maybe Mitch can be the witch. It even rhymes.
2-0. And Liquid is on it to get a fast-paced approach once more on the side of A. It's not the first time we've seen this, and it's just gonna be a matter of seconds until Yumpy is dashing on the side. No chance. Man's blind, and Lego doesn't stand a single one. Here is coming. Nothing else than a few blades in your face, but Russ is still alive. The component that was keeping BBL on high ref on Haven wasn't showing too much over there on Ascent. Spikes down, the buy is in right here, Tom.
Still going strong. Soulcast finding info. The peak actually gives him that close range battle which he desired, and they need to clear him out of this spot. They know as well that there's gonna be the lineups ready. This is where Cryptix can come into play. Gonna try and pull out the header to maybe deny it, but they're looking to get it halfway at least. This gives Russ a chance in the clutch, and eventually Cryptix is gonna have to go for the peak. He hears the tap back onto the spike, and Russ hits the headshot. Didn't even need to push his opponent. Cryptix came to him, and it will be BBL off the back of this man once more taking their first round.
Surprising. I have to say, a little bit surprising, to be honest. Cryptix, I understand why he was swinging that wide, because, you know, if it's last millisecond, you can't just AD and oh wait, he's still diffusing, and then just once more swinging wide. It's a tough decision. It's coming down to milliseconds at the end of the day. And a close one. A costly one for both parties.
Watch and learn.
The thing that I like so much, Tom, though, is the ults we see on the side of Liquid are extremely valuable. Viper's Pit, insane, first of all. Scream, I mean, he's running it back every 2 or 3 rounds. That's how it feels like. Then you also have the Brim ult. Those are strong ones.
They should know that there's a player in this corner now. Russ only going to be good for 1. He's got Lego alongside him. Actually, he ends up running out of bullets. That's unfortunate. And now Scream's going to come running through the blast pack, trying to throw him off, trying to kill off that ult before he gets anything. Will he find him in the last second? No. And actually, the pushback through from Lego couldn't have been better on the timing. Luckily, Link, Clutch King, has returned once again. Had to avoid the shock dart due to his low HP. And now, more importantly, they're going to go rotating back. But look at him, DLL. He's so ready for anything that was thrown at him. Scream, 45 seconds eshed, and a 1v2.
You would ask yourself, who else in Scream would you like to have when it comes down to such a clutch? I couldn't name too many players that would be there. Shirley, Zipan, Rhyme, Xiao.
30 seconds left.
But I would say the list is, first of all, very short. And second of all, there's not many players that are ahead of Scream. 20 more. And that one is ticking and ticking. The dart's not going to spot him. He really got to start sprinting at one point. And as he's now trying to take the spike behind him, and DLL will come out.
Dirty.
Really is.
I love it. So he not only got the kill on the player running through the teleporter, but he then goes back into the teleporter and just waits inside for when Scream goes for the spike. Intelligent stuff from AIM-DLL. He's someone we actually talk about in sort of comparisons earlier in the day, where it's like a lot of the time he is going to be making fairly aggressive plays for someone who we normally talk about. It's like, oh, your role is to sit on the site, yada yada, hold the fort. But he is going to be looking to try and make the space, and the play he makes in that round, well, he wins it for them. Now looking like we might see a bit more aggression out from Kira in this round, at least hunting for information. The dart not going to be shot in time, so it does tell them that Scream is patiently waiting. And by the looks of it, I think they've got a cam to spot if anybody tries to enter out onto the site. This is something that, again, mentioning in the pre-show, BBL like to play retake on this site, but they won't just give you everything for free. They'll give you the initial pieces. You can have the site, but we're holding on to Elbow. Maybe some rounds they'll try and hold on to Hookah. So for Liquid, it's going to be tougher to try and play from those afterplant scenarios. Luckily, this time they do have a fair few pieces of utility, such as the ultimate out from Brimstone.
Extremely valuable ult that is very much deciding every sort of outcome. And this is Scream for you. And I mean, this is the Scream type of aim. He doesn't see a thing, but he can identify you due to your tracers. Your own fault, but man's blind. That's paranoia for you. Kiro is not making a move, though. Pretty much intimidated by the Belgian. But that is Scream. Again and again and again. He will strike. Adil is not to be stopped, and the aiming machine from Belgium is taken out at one point. Russ still tries. He's on a double. That could make much more, and it could be the third for BBL. He's solving it, but here's the molly, and that's nasty, but that's exceptionally good. Link, with one piece of utility, is denying it all.
So the thing I love about that round is because the Viper's pit is on the site, you think you're safe. You're like, well, the Viper can't be lining up utility because he's on the site. There's no way he can be setting up. We've just killed the Viper, and then a Molotov lands from Brimstone instead. They've got so much utility, so much counterplay. You know as well that I think he still had the orbital strike available to him if he really wanted to just completely ruin that round. In fact, yeah, you can see it's still there for Link. So there was no way he was ever going to win that. A nice try again from Russ, but it is the lead taken. As said, I think Liquid's attack side of this map was already good, so the changes they've made only makes it all the more exciting. Russ going to be getting aggressive. His teammates lost in response, and, well, I think Liquid are going to be more than happy with the trades.
Very valid point, Raven. The thing is, the A side is the absolute favorite of Liquid.
Come on, let's go!
And we've pretty much seen it. They have adapted their Viper entirely to it. The second wall is now going to be put up. Should be a very easy and safe plant, as though the showstopper is there, and
Spike planted.
the name of this ultimate speaks for itself. Here comes the first nade, or doesn't it? No. Still waiting for it. And this is where I would see a chance of this ult not necessarily finding frags, but rather denying room. It's a matter of time until he uses it, if he even does so. No, still waits it out. Scream starts though the show. 20 HP left on him, and it's still that race alive, but finally is getting eliminated. More to come from Soulcast. Just holding that one angle. Brings him the 4th. Easy peasy. The majority stays alive.
Yeah, I think if you look from BBL's perspective there, they already know that Cryptix is set up in afterplants, so the chance of them winning that round was so slim that I think committing the showstopper would have been a fairly big risk, but for now at least, they do a little bit of extra damage. That's going to be all. Liquid looking very strong once again on this attack side, and something that has to be mentioned as well is that although you still don't have the quote-unquote Sentinel, in fact, you definitely don't have one now that Sage has dissipated, I do think Cryptix will be able to make it work on the other side with Viper. There's so many walls that you can put down that instantly lower the HP of your opponent. This from Russ is something I always like to see. As said, he's the king of taking map control, looking for those spots early in the round, but you can just see how patient Liquid are being.
Yeah.
Just making sure they clear every angle, not really taking too many risks. Now, Aslan will have baited out the fact that he's on the left-hand side. The whole point of that, he peeks, he shoots, and then hopefully the other player goes unchecked. Although, I will say it would be a little bit of an oversight for Liquid if they didn't check that angle.
And you mentioned quite well, they still adapt differently to not playing with a Sentinel. Here you see the Orbital Strike coming in, and this obviously gives them some freedom because the bathroom players can't escape. They are aware where they stand, but this is Russ with the no-scope. Man only needs left mouse button for it. As our Cryptix still shines. Another with no-scope? Nope, make it a quick one. 3 frags found. The quad is just around the corner, but AIM DLL is stealing it. And this is where I think one point has to be worth mentioning about Team Liquid real quick, is that there is like, you can build off of 2 basics with Team Liquid. Either in like the first 30 seconds, you see them swiftly push towards A. You saw the Viper wall coming up, denying anything from Lambs, then it's going to be the dash most likely, that Yampi is then entering the side, Scream is putting up the wall, and then you get the bomb down in form of Link. The alternative is a very slow default, which we saw in the previous round works really well with denying any room for BBL.
Russ will keep his operator in. He has still been putting up crazy numbers so far in this matchup. Top fragger in the server, even though they're behind, and Yampi, well, you got to be a little bit scared when this shot comes into play. He'll be pushing forward. AIM DLL already gets one through. His utility catching out Scream, and Yampi trying to make sure that nobody can make the same risky play through the smoke. Instead, Link's caught out by the Hunter's Fury, and they're trying to now use it to catch anybody on the other side, but without the plant down, they're going to have to try and re-aggress. Luckily, Soulcast has already picked off one.
I've got your trail.
Didn't spot Jet. That's what it feels like for me. Now he's moving over, and it seems like that judge actually delivered a verdict, bringing it only to 2 more. Russ as well as Kero could very much make the difference, as that close range operator is going to be very interesting to watch. They're running out of time, that's for sure, and out of options as well. 15 more seconds until you get the recon bolt, but if that's even going to be used, that's a different sort of thing. On the other side of the wall, it would have been Yampi, but I think he just got him here through the wall. Soulcast, low HP on sight, is not going to be found. He's going to make the change, and Russ will try, but if he's even surviving that, I don't even know. 5,000 credits in his hands. And you either run, and you run fast, or you try to go for the retake, but that ain't happening. Save that thing.
Yeah, just to make sure of it, they're going to throw the final snake bite down. I think that's the reason he exits there. Like, the second you see that Cryptix is still alive, it's like, even if I manage to find the first player, chances of me defusing the spike are slim to none, and the chances of me losing the operator, which has pretty much won them the only round we've seen over the last few, yeah, it's just not worth it. I like the resurgence, though. Like, Soulcast does very well to bring this round back. I think the Seekers just giving away a lot of the positioning of the remaining players and giving them a chance to get into those afterplants, and that's where they're deadly. I don't mind the fact that BBL are trying to make sure they can't get into those spots, like by being more aggressive, by taking faces, by looking through different positions to try and find picks, because realistically, if they get into these spots, it becomes so rough. And while Russ, that's not the greatest of starts, They're definitely going to know he's here as well, so I would have to say any sort of risk taken. Is Yumpy going to dash this? No, he's actually just going to pick it, and wow, he's not going to win that battle.
Crazy stuff, because he was really trying to make such a ballsy move because he was believing they're going to take the room. Whilst I'm being Molotoved, they would actually try to clear the corners and claim it as their territory. But here's the Viper Wall, and I don't know how much toxine is left in Cryptics, because I could imagine if they right now make the move, it's going to run out in the meantime. There you have it, already falling down. It's recharging right now. It's refueling. In 45 more seconds, and they'll enter. Here come the Brimstone smokes. Russ will try. Low HP he is, and he might be just killed in the process. Aslan with what a frag through Soulcast, as Russ at the same time is not whiffing at all. Cryptics eliminated, but still 5 players. Okay, make it 4. Now back alive. Scream taken out of the equation, and they're getting back.
A really solid round from BBL. A good rotation after the early pick. I think also the reason Yampy seemed to be so surprised by that peak is because you hear all the damage that was done by the flames. You hear like as they walk across, and the reason is there. What most players would do is they'd peek into the Molotov, not see anything, and then they'd go back. You don't just go forward. You don't continue to push through it. So you can almost wonder why Yampy's go, okay, he's probably on the angle on the left, and then walks out and is just instantly dead. So almost played by just how aggressive Russ was meant to be, but I think that round in particular comes down to Aslan. Now, the way Yumpy's been playing the shotgun so far is basically his job is to make sure that nobody can do anything into lamps. He's got to try and get as far forward as he can and just make sure that that weapon becomes valuable for the team. Scream is going to act as the distraction, pushing through all of the utility, the one-ways that are currently in play for AIM DLL. But he's actually not going to get too much done here. They managed to hold off quite well, and Aslan is going to try and reclaim those lamps.
He does try to, but all the pellets in the face of Omen. So no more smokes coming in for BLL. Look how he's jumping around. This is Yampy for you. The name fits so brilliantly. And that's good information gained. As though Russ comes around, that could be Link eliminated, and that is also Cryptics out. No, it ain't happening. The Daggerstone hits, and as they try their best, surely it's good information gained, but is it gonna make a difference is the question. AMDLL can't just easily push through this. He's low HP, Soulcast assists Scream, and Lambs belongs to Liquid. 6-4, and the 8th is in range.
That must be so annoying to play against. Like, it almost looks like one of those players who's got like their scroll wheel stuck and is just constantly jumping because of it. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but if it works, it works. And Liquid take themselves another round. There is a world where Russ manages to turn this, and he is looking to try and basically deny them by coming in on the flank, but it isn't going to work out for them this time. 6-4, Liquid again on the attack, looking strong. Waiting to see what investment is there for Scream. Currently without a weapon. I imagine that's going to be thrown over by a teammate, and eventually will do. And for BBL financially, they're not in too bad a spot. They will still have the operator in play. Ultimate's not really going to be anything too important. And I wonder if this is the same execute we've seen recently coming out from Team Liquid. It was a double molly. One goes into the left side of the site. The other goes into the sort of cubby that you see on the right side of B. And it forces a lot of players back. However, the counter to this is basically what we're seeing here. BBL are just going to fight them in the front lines.
Well predicted. Exactly, that seems to be the case. Nice one. But does it really help? No, not at the moment, because nobody's even close. The Spectre. Perfect tool when you're low on money and you try to take close range fights. Yumpy's out. And this is the man advantage right now. They try to push the side. Russ doesn't even stand a chance. A very valuable weapon pretty much put away. And suddenly the distraction is big. The distraction is massive. It seems like they're all just trying to push hookah and take the room. But AIM-DLL is still there. Tries to make it work with a wall bang. But that spikes down now.
Aslan does manage to bring it back. Both players split in their positions, and guess what? They're setting up for the afterplants once again. A couple of snake bites available. Cryptics with his lineup, but they're already on this defusal. They've got to be careful here, sticking it down to just halfway, as now that extra utility starts to land, but they're not going to be able to stick it for long. Paranoia will hold the remaining players back, but they need to try and deny any further pushes, and with a second snake bite, there's so much damage being done. Cryptics will just hold it down. There is a reason why a lot of teams have decided to copy aspects of what we saw from Fnatic, and hey, it's because it works.
I mean, you love to see this kind of Viper play, really. It's so amazing how he just poisons them away, really. It is the toxic, and it is the poison, getting themselves another successful round. A brilliant one. A brilliant one, you have to say. And this brings BBL in a situation where on the attacking side, I surely could imagine they will have something to say. They will put up a lot of speed. They'll go fast. But at the same time, 8-4, not so easy. And funny-wise,
He killed him with
the Tiger is actually biting him to death.
Oh no, I wonder if that actually counts as a kill for Soulcast. Russ, they've got this flank through very quickly, so they're still going to be able to have hookah control. They managed to clear this in the early stages, but because of that flank, they've just gone rotating all the way back. The teleporter used to their aid. Now they've left Scream behind to deny any rotations back in that direction. Aim DLL in a good spot, but he can't do anything versus Cryptics. The afterplant is going to ensue once again, and should we just call it here, because BBL have struggled in these scenarios?
Yeah, and it seems like Russ is hearing you, and yeah, well, I don't agree with you, Tom. He's gonna continue, but he can't finish it, because then again, it's Snake Bite, and it is the left click from the Classic, where Yumpy tries, but Scream is closing the case. 8-4 it is, and Team Liquid right now moving over to the defender side, where on bind they feel very comfortable at.
Yeah, this was a really solid half from Liquid, and it's not just us singing the normal praises. We're not sat there going, oh, Yumpy, he's doing really well on the entries and screams, just headshot him. I think the player that's actually impressed me most has been Soulcast. I think in terms of impact frags, he's had so many. Sure, Cryptics is doing a great job playing that Viper, but I think once a player of his caliber picks this agent up, I expect him to know all the lineups. I expect him to have the sort of poison smoke down that will just deny anyone. Like, that's something of a norm. But yeah, Soulcast playing that Skye has been super impressive, and it's not been the sort of flashy fake flashes that we've seen from him. Actually, it's just been some entry fragging in some of the rounds, like taking down Russ on a few different occasions. So yeah, props to him. Now we go into the side where I still have some questions to ask, because sure, they're not up against the after plant that they just played, like against Fnatic, but they still had their struggles when it came to the defense.
The fun part right now to me here, Tom, is that we see Brimstone and Cryptics defending the A sides. I mean, those players with their abilities, it must be very annoying to push the sides. The wall, the screen, the wall, the smoke, snake bites, the Molotov, another smoke from Brim. It ain't fun. It most likely won't be fun trying to do your best over there on A. But as it's also calm and collected over on A, rotation from Soulcast, it seemed inevitable.
While looking at the defenders setup, they've taken long control. They've also got the Viper wall down to almost cover off their retreat. So this is the bait and switch, and it's actually both the players with the frenzies. There goes the escape. Now they bait for Scream, and this is where he just gets that double kill. The worst thing as well, if they want to push through this, they have to then take the huge amount of damage that you know you receive. So instead, they're going to go wrapping back. And actually, this time, that could be the play. There's not anyone there. Soulcast has been caught off, turning it into a 3 versus 3. But they've got to get onto this site, and they've got to do it fast. Aim DLL is doing a great job, and actually, he's baited them into confusion. They're not sure where this has gone down, and it will take them some time to get into position once again.
Both players don't have any abilities left, so it's nothing that they can use to support their attack right here than just their pure firepower, and that individual performance, that individual prowess is now needed. Well, it ain't happening. Quick one to finish it. Russ and Aslan hiding in bathroom, swinging simultaneously, bring the 5th on the board for BBL.
Yeah, I think they need to give a big pat on the back to AIM DLO in that round. Like, without him holding off their rotations, I don't see a chance of them winning this round. The setup from Liquid was awesome. I love that. The bait and switch, the deadly duo of Yampi and Scream combining, but the fact is it was actually just that hold, stopping them from rotating, allowing the spike to go down, and even putting some doubt in the minds of the opponents of where they were even going at that stage. So props given. But there is still going to be an investment here. Now, Liquid have proven time and time again that they love these low budget rounds. Now, they're going to go in with what is a dicey purchase, mostly shotguns. And we're going to wait and see if it works.
Of course, Scream is on the Guardian. And talking about him, the weapon that is just pretty much tailored to him. Unfortunately, though, that's not the old Bucky, but this is the judge. And uh-oh, it seems like they ended up in court. Sentence spoken, 9-5. Ridiculous.
That shouldn't have worked.
No, it shouldn't. No way.
I think after that round, there's going to be a few people going, now, how about the judge nerf now? How about the judge? Because this is just the shotgun buy. But yeah, this almost now puts into doubt the entire map, because getting off to a strong start on the attack was almost everything, and I feel like Liquid knew that. The investment they came up with in that round was a risk for sure, but knowing that they want to invest in later rounds into the operator, maybe get that Blade Storm a little bit earlier, or, as we've seen regularly, pull in the run it back from Scream.
Here.
It could be a pretty big difference maker. Now, Russ getting that ult orb in the early stages will give him the Blade Storm. Gives him the chance to maybe pull off a hero play, because other than that, they've invested very little into this round. It is literal pistols, but this man alone has been pulling off one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen from a player in Valorant.
Truly. It's good to see those teams finally here. That is where, you know, many people, especially I think, for example, from NA, have, you know, never had any Turkish players outside of CNAT on their radar, I imagine. And, you know, same goes for the CIS teams. And then, this is the way they perform. Russ on the first map has been an absolute Terminator, and he might just do it here in round number 15. As Liquid only got 3 more left on the server, Yumpy starts shining, and that's Shadow down. As Aslan has been eliminated, a few more to go, and the young Finn can't kill them all, but Soulcast is here to join and assist. It is a 2v2, both are low HP, and it's still working out. It's costly, but it's working out.
Yeah, I think the fact that Russ can almost make us believe in those sort of rounds really does show how talented he is. I actually want to have a quick look at the scoreboard, because I believe he may even still be top fragging out of everyone, which, considering they have half the rounds of their opponents, yeah, it's not even close. I don't even know why I question myself. In 24-11 and is losing by 5 rounds. It shows how close some of the rounds have been, but also shows that the after plants that we were seeing in the last half just made things so awkward for them to pull anything off in the retake. And a strong after plant here as well from Liquid almost echoes what we saw previously. Now, 10-5. I almost want to say this is it. If we see them lose this round, it's going to be a very tough response. And you can see Yumpy again. One off is going to be able to take that orb and get himself the Blade Storm. So saving a little bit of economy, likely to give him an operator later in the map, but more importantly, gives him a pretty deadly weapon right now.
That gap is, well, and that Tasmanian Tiger's giving them a pretty clear idea. Elong, not fortified at all by BBL. But they're actually capitalizing on that FOD. It looks very much like, well, Liquid, they do believe that we have left the side alone. Maybe they have over-rotated, but a quick look on the minimap tells us, Tom, that Scream is already ready to move around. Now Yumpy has the confirmation, and the Seekers are not making it any easier for BBL.
Information garnered, and in fact, Russ already being dropped. Lego also gonna pop the showstopper. Try and clear someone else, but they're getting slaughtered. Just nothing really being done. 30 seconds left as the ultimate ends finally. But they've taken a lot of damage in response, and they have not got rid of Yampy just yet. He's been here since the beginning of the round. Scream still alongside him, looking to try and deny the plant, but Kiro's still holding. Another player dropped, maybe an opportunity. This round was looking rough. waiting for the rotation to come in for the remaining teammates, and that's a player dead. There's nothing that Aslan can do to escape that one. Also clearing the corner. That was so methodical from Liquid. For a second, I started to doubt if they'd close out this round, but it came down to, well, just a few easy clears, not a point of damage done onto the remaining players, and they have their 11th.
And with the death of Scream, you're thinking like, oh, this could turn around. This could be BBL now starting their comeback, but you described it perfectly, methodical. Cryptics had one snake bite left, had the right kind of idea. Maybe, I think I heard a step, and you got a peek. What are you supposed to do? No chance. And that Liquid that delivered a misery on Haven, where the entry fraggers were shaking, where it was Cryptics, who's definitely an impactful player, yet usually not the entry fragger and usually not on top of the scoreboard, actually rocking that, are now back alive. And it seems like it took a map to wake up. It probably takes 1 or 2 demo reviews to look what went wrong over there. But on the other side, this is what I mentioned, and this is where that mental strength seems to come in for Team Liquid.
Wait, I think also the comp changes they made on Bind in particular has added in an agent that is very, very difficult to counter right now. So it doesn't seem like BBL have the answers to face off against Viper on this map. And on the attack, they do have more opportunities. Already, we're going to see the push coming through. Cryptic's well placed. Will trade an initial frag, but it is Aslan to take things over the line. There was a reason I was excited if he was going to pull out that Reyna. He's definitely not a weak fragger, even on his Omen. For now, we're going to see that information being hunted for, but it's a straight up teleport over to the other side of the map in one way or the other. And there are no players here anymore. An easy plant.
And this is where I actually would hope they would let Carol plant. Ain't happening. But they won't use his ult for this round because Aslan is putting a few bullets into the head of Soulcast. The 6th one seems to be pretty much secured, especially as Yampi should not risk losing the 5 grand in his hands. It's a long way for BBL, really. And, you know, I think switching up the pace is something that looked very enjoyable. I think the last few rounds we saw what those kind of slow plays do with them. It seems this is something really playing into the hands of Liquid. But maybe once they swap it into a faster approach, it might work so well, but look who's coming at you. Look who's looking for that frag.
Careful now.
Just making sure that nobody's getting out of that teleporter. And more important, to keep the guns.
Oh,
actually,
that was the operator.
Get wrecked. Oh, that's a little bit unlucky for sure. Not exactly what they would be wanting in this scenario, losing an extra player, making things a bit more costly. But yeah, I'll be real. I think that BBL have much more of an opportunity on this attack side. I think playing up against the afterplant meta of Viper is really difficult. And like with all jokes aside, a lot of the counters, they're very situational. Like it almost involves just hoping that you can find that kill onto Viper or having a little bit of luck with some of the aggressive plays you're able to make. And that discounts every other player we currently have on Liquid. Going onto the defender side, I think there's much more of an opportunity for them to actually counter some of the abilities. You're not necessarily going to have lineups to deny people who've already planted the spike. So, well, we'll see what BBL can do here. We know that they're very solid at finding opening picks. And as you said, like the change of pace in the last round, it seemed like they almost just barreled over their opponents. Players like Russ, like Aslan, can definitely take over a map. So let's not count out a team that have had to fight tooth and nail to get here, because they're not going to go down to that lower bracket without a fight.
Oh no, they will not. And as they quicken their approach on the side of A, Russ first, as the point man is trying to find anything. Gonna be eliminated. Scream and Cryptics are absolutely ready. And Scream with that spray control puts it only down to Kiro. Man doesn't stand a chance. The 12th is on the board. Liquid is around the way from advancing.
Match point.
Well, the elimination match would be Turkey versus CIS. The winners match of this group, Europe versus Europe.
Yeah, let's wait for the fat lady to sing, all right? I haven't got my wig on yet. But yeah, it's looking a little bit rough. It is looking a little bit rough. I think especially the timing of the snake bite almost completely separates the push. So the choice that is there for the players of BBL is, okay, 2 of you have gone through. Like, you can have the dash or the updraft over alongside the blast packs. But the remainder either had to run through it or wait. It was not a good plan. Now, Soulcast is not only going to slow them, but he also, I was going to say, has the information, but they did get a little bit stuck in the mud. Screen caught by Russ, and Soulcast just spamming for his life. He knows they're going to be tagged as they go through.
Oh my god.
And Link has already managed to pick off one.
And that was the Guardian Agent of Soulcast.
That's a spike.
That is the spike, and you know, that player, it was Lego, who was just hovering above the head of Soulcast, was killed by Link, so you can thank him, as Soulcast just might make the difference. The triple is in for him, the quad just might come next, and that is Sky not finishing the case, but Yampi does it. A beautiful